Okay, everyone, welcome to this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie for November 5th, 2025. We have made some changes to the sound system in response to attempting to make the sound better. So the sound may be different. Please tell us if you can hear in the back. Oh, I'm seeing thumbs up, so that's good. And we are going to make some changes to the mics, but right now, just let me know if anybody can't hear or we're having any issues with the mics, let me know. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call.
Okay, good evening, Bill Reuter, First Ward.
Hello, Barbara Laird, Second Ward. Ann Berger, Third Ward.
Michael Saffold, Fourth Ward.
Good evening, Ryan Sharp, Fifth Ward.
Ann Shershin, Sixth Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Emily Svensson, Attorney to the Town.
Rebecca Edwards, Town Supervisor. Okay, so we're going to start tonight with two public hearings. So I think we should just jump right in and then after we've done those, then comment for any other item on the agenda will be opened after items 1 and 2.
Okay, make motion to open up the hearing for property maintenance at 50 Winnie Lane.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries, motion carries 7-0. Okay, so anyone who would like to speak on the property maintenance, proposed property maintenance zoning enforcement at 50 Winnie Drive? Is there anyone here to speak to that? Okay, seeing none, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries 7-0. All right, then.
Be it resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, pursuant to public hearing held this evening, under Chapter 159-4, Town of Poughkeepsie Code, Property Maintenance, determined property located at 50 Winnie Lane, Town of Poughkeepsie, owned by Hassan Aziz, in violation of Town Code, Chapter 159, Property Maintenance, 159-4. Be it further resolved, legal notice of public hearing was posted on October 17th, published by the Poughkeepsie Journal on October 23rd, 2025, and mailed to owner's certified mail return receipt requested October 10th, 2025. That said determination is based on the presentation and report submitted at the public hearing by the Town of Poughkeepsie zoning administrator, and be it further resolved that said owner of 50 Winnie Lane has not complied with the order to remedy, and that the town, by its highway department or town contractor, caused the removal of all waste and debris and litter being stored on the property, tire and broken basketball hoop included, and continue maintenance thereafter if the premise continues not to be properly maintained, which cost shall be added to the property bill pursuant to Town Code 159-13. So moved.
Second. All right. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 7-0.
The second public hearing is about a change in the code to nuisance parties, which is Town Code Chapter 144, Article 1. Most of the changes...
I'll second.
Oh. Second.
Okay.
All right.
I was just going to say where the changes were.
Right. Oh, yeah, so we can probably move in second to open the public hearing, and then if you want to add a comment about what's on the, what's the substance, that would be great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries 7-0, so the public hearing is open. Barb, did you want to say something further?
I was just going to say that we had discussed this before in a workshop, and most of the changes are about tagging the responsible person for the house and the property owner contact information. So most of that is in section 144-5.1. Those have been added to, and we talked about changing it from arrests to tickets given. After a nuisance party that results in one or more tickets, the owner shall be subject to the following reporting requirement to facilitate contact in the event of a future violation. And then there's lots of steps.
The backup still says arrests, but I think,
Yeah, well, the second, the red line version has it marked, it just didn't get marked in the
Okay.
clean version, so I think it's
Perfect.
okay, yeah, thanks.
So we'll make sure it's in the clean version
I'm
then.
writing a note to Mary
Yep.
right now.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, then are there anyone here, from the public in the room or online who wanted to comment about, this proposed change in the nuisance law? Yes, Doreen, welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so could you just clarify that? Because I do see in the version that was posted online for tonight's packet that it still says after a nuisance party that results in one or more arrests. So that's changed?
I believe that it is, changed to tickets
In our
rather than
packet,
arrests.
Yeah, I
have-
thought that's what it said last time, but that's not the one in the packet.
that was just a oversight. but-
So in our packet, we have a clean version and a red line. Is that the same as what's on the
We have tickets
website?
on this one. It says tickets on this one.
Right,
Yeah.
I think that perhaps the clean version, but not the red line was published? Is that the case?
That could be the case.
Yeah, that may be what happened here,
But the board has the.
right.
We have both.
But the intention of the law is to change arrests to tickets.
Correct.
Okay, so we just need to make clear here at tonight's hearing that that change is in the red line and that we want to add it to the main document.
Okay.
Tickets rather than arrests.
Okay, and that's section 144-5.1.
Yes, and it also shows up during.
Under responsible person.
Under, the definition of responsible person in definitions 144-2. It's,
B, right?
yeah, part B, exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that, make sure we get it in there. All right, is there anyone else here in the room or on Zoom who would like to speak on, these proposed changes to the nuisance party law? Okay, seeing no one from the public, I think that what we do is move to close the public hearing and then the board discusses the law itself.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right,
Yeah.
the hearing is
So we
closed.
had a question.
Oh,
That didn't count for IBM Road, did it? Because that wasn't part of the amendment?
Correct.
No,
no,
Okay.
that's,
That's a different public hearing,
she's,
isn't it?
no, she's questioning, she wants to speak on that, so after the
yes.
public hearing, she'll have a chance.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
that's
after
correct.
the two
Yeah,
public
exactly. We will open public comment after this for all items on the agenda, after these two public hearings. Perfect, thank you. Okay, got it. Thank you. All right, so then, all those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the public hearing is closed by a vote of 7-0, and now, we need to move the resolution itself for the board's discussion, right? Barb?
Yes. Oh, so, here we go.
Read the front.
Right,
I thought we were gonna
We're all
discuss,
tight,
I'm so
that's
sorry.
okay.
Be it resolved,
we have to put it on the
Read it
floor.
first, yeah.
Yep,
read it again. Be it resolved, the town board of Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to a duly noticed public hearing held on November 5th at 7 PM, does hereby adopt a local law amendment to Town Code Chapter 144, Article 1, entitled nuisance parties. Be it further resolved that proposed local law is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said local law and does direct that it be spread across the record as if it, in fact, had been read verbatim. Be it further resolved that legal notice of public hearing was posted on October 17th, published in the Poughkeepsie Journal October 23rd, 2025. This is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review, and said local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the state. So moved.
Second.
okay, discussion.
Yes. As much as I appreciate this and I like this, it does help the police quite a bit. However, I think the penalty phase, 144-6, still has to go up. It's not a fine punishable of not less than $250, but not see, $1,000 is too small. It should start out at $1,000 and go up to $2,000 or $2,500. These kids have money, they have these parties, they charge people to have these parties. When they get to this point in time where it's a nuisance, it's a problem. The cops have been there. We're wasting so many resources that the police could be somewhere better suited with their time than dealing with something like this. So I would like to amend this to charge that fine to be exceedingly higher. I would say $1,000 off the top, and 25, not to exceed 2,500. Because we're wasting time sending the police to these parties, and we've been doing this for years.
So-
And, well, that's the first part, but go ahead.
Right. Well, I was gonna ask, because there's an A, B, and C for like first offense, second offense, third offense.
Right.
So I wonder if you wanted to make changes to all three,
Yes, they
or,
all should be higher. They all should be heard. There's gotta be teeth in this, or it's not gonna work. These kids have money, they're charging $20 or $30 a kid to come. You've seen the crowds that get there. They're making money. And I can't say I blame the
Right.
Maras, but Vassar College, when we had problems with Vassar College, they stepped up to the plate and stopped the parties from happening over in that area. So,
Vassar's more residential, I think, and then you've got this section, so many of the Marist students who are living off campus, and, it's definitely an issue. What was it, you had a second issue? I just wanted to ask
Yeah.
because there's several
yeah,
escalating
my second
fines
issue
there.
is more of a policy issue, and it relates to our attorneys for both the planning board and all of our attorneys basically for the town since I've been in office. I have asked why we cannot regulate these houses. No one seems to want to take the opportunity to try to regulate these houses. City of Poughkeepsie did it, but we certainly didn't because we were afraid of a lawsuit. We regulate Airbnb so strict, we should be able to regulate these college houses.
So when you say regulate, what do you mean?
Make people register their houses just like we do Airbnbs to rent them out. I've asked Mike Welty, I've asked our zoning board lawyers, I've asked every other lawyer that we've ever had in the town. And it comes back to the same, we can't do it, we're afraid we'll get sued. The City of Poughkeepsie should have got sued. They never got sued.
My understanding is that it has to do with discriminating a particular class of tenants. And if we set up such a registry, we would have to apply it to every rental in the town. We can't say student rentals as opposed to other kinds of rentals. And so we could do that, but that's a heck of a lot of rentals to keep a registry for.
Other municipalities do it. New Paltz has a registration. Syracuse has it. I mean, there are other towns that have it. Nobody seems to want to put the teeth in it here, and that would be the easiest way to settle this and stop wasting so much valuable time of our police department. But I'll stick with what we got, but I wanted to put that on the record that I think we should be, we come down on Airbnb so hard that we should be coming down on these college houses just as hard.
Okay, duly noted. The other comments, and then if you wanted to make an amendment of any kind, obviously, we can come back to that, but.
I agree with Councilman Sifon. It was it's a good idea and a long time coming. I just, looking at this, I understand it. I think the definitions of responsible persons. But my question is, wouldn't responsible persons be simply legal property owner by way of deed or legal tenant by way of occupancy? I mean, do we, I'm just curious as to why we have all this language for all these different A and B.
Because,
Okay, go ahead.
because the way this works is that the property owner becomes a responsible person after they've been notified once. So the first time there's an issue, the property owner is not held responsible, but once they've been notified, then they become for the second time.
Although then they legally fulfill the definition of a responsible person because they've been notified.
Correct.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, so part of this legal definition is they have to do something wrong first.
Yeah.
To then be classified under this law as the property
Yeah.
As a
responsible person.
responsible, I mean, obviously, the first time something is against, some violation of another statute occurs, the person is disorderly or open
Okay.
container or whatever else, they're responsible. But before the property owner becomes responsible, we're giving them, one warning.
And that's why this, okay, I got you, Counselor, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
But I think this is the only way we're really gonna make real changes, is by getting the property owner fines. That if they don't control their kids, if they don't put it in their lease, no parties, and that we're gonna evict you if you do have a party. That's the only way that this is gonna get fixed, is by making them the responsible parties, which this does, and hit them with a fine.
I think that I think in the conversations, many different people who were involved in this agreed that identifying the landlords and making sure we have a local contact, and that we can hold the landlord responsible seems to be an important step that we can take here.
As far as the levels of the fines, so we've now opened and closed the public hearing. If we want to change that, I would suggest that we come back with a new version with the higher fines and reopen the public hearing. I'm sorry to do that, but it's a substantial enough change that I think it's necessary to allow the public to comment on that.
Could we, depending
we
on
could see
how
how-
quickly we want to move. We could adopt this, and then we could come back with a proposed hearing on a revision of the fines, and then we would have it in place, but then could up the fines later.
Right.
Or we could postpone the whole thing, we kind of like to have, we could do it either way.
I'd be fine passing it and
Yeah,
updating
okay.
it as we go along.
Yep.
Also-
And I'm
Just to get
happy,
it on the books.
and I'm happy to then come back and revisit the fines.
And isn't this kind of up to the judge's discretion too? 'Cause
Right, it gives a range.
it gives a
so-
range, so they could give the $1,000 right off the bat.
Yeah.
But if you give them a minimum that's high enough, they have to give them a minimum.
No, they don't have to give them the minimum, it's a range.
Well, right, no,
Start at the
he's
minimum,
saying,
They gotta start at the minimum.
No,
he's saying he'd prefer that the minimum be 1,000. Not,
But you don't have to start at the minimum, it's $250 to $1,000, and it's up to the judge to decide where in that range for the first one.
he's
So you could
suggesting,
give it
I think,
1,000.
that the minimum be 1,000.
If charge, make the minimum, so there's some teeth in it, the judge can't go lower.
No, the judge can't go lower.
Because the judges have had discretion, and they've charged them with, the police have done a ton of work, and they've given them disorderly conduct $30, or something stupid like that. And they've let it go. They've changed they changed it, and all this work went in, manpower hours, and, overtime costs, whatever.
So it sounds like where we are is that a substantial amendment, this would be a substantial amendment, which would then kick us over to starting again. So maybe we aren't doing an amendment right now, but we will come back and revisit the fines. And we'll put that on as a proposed amendment. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's fine.
At a
I'm
future
fine with
meeting.
that.
All right, good. Is there any other discussion of the proposed amendments to the nuisance law? Okay, seeing none then, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the resolution carries 7-0. Okay, now then, I move that we open the floor, we suspend the rules and open the floor for comment of up to 3 minutes on any other item that's on the agenda tonight. If anyone doesn't have the whole agenda, there should be some on the table out in the hallway, and also those folks who are online should have found your Zoom link on the agenda page. So, so moved?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, then the motion carries, and public comment is open, and you're welcome to come forward. That would be great, because then we can record, the mic will pick up your comments, and it'll be recorded in the video.
Thank you.
Welcome.
My name is Gail, and I am here as a parent of a child that dances at a dance studio next to 10 IBM Road. If you're not aware, this dance studio that has opened up recently has children there from pre-K to seniors in high school. I am aware that they were busted on October 16th. I heard from a parent that they were back in operation that night. On October 17th, I was sitting in the parking lot waiting for my child and witnessed 5 to 6 men patronize that facility. Not only are they driving and parking in the parking lot, they're walking down from Route 9. I'm sure you are aware of what this facility offers. It's not a good thing to have next to where children are dancing. It's disgusting, and not only is it bad for the children who are aware of this happening, it's bad for the sex workers who are probably trafficked. Who knows, they're paying off their, debt to come into the country. This facility is on websites. I'm not gonna read what has been posted about the women who work there. It could be considered triple X rated. I've printed it out for you. Men are fully aware of what goes on in that studio, in that spa. And I know that you have it set for December 3rd for another public hearing, but I'm hoping that, this place can be permanently shut down before December 3rd. It's disgusting to know that on that side of the wall, there's double sheetrock, so things don't get hurt by the children. And I think it's open for longer hours than anybody believes. People may be sleeping in there and catering at all hours. I don't know that for a fact, but I do know it goes on, and I've seen it for myself. So I just implore you to get it shut down before December 3rd. If you have the ability to do that, and to the point where they cannot open up any longer. It's really not good to have that in the town, and it's not good to have it near children.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ma'am, just have a question for you.
Yes,
You said you have some information that you found online on the internet?
yes.
So just curious how you found it. You just did a simple
I
search of the title?
did a search for the name of the spa, and I did a search on the address.
Okay.
And these
then-
are advertised as ASM and FBSM
Okay.
massage parlors.
So it didn't take you long to find it?
No, it didn't take me long to find it at all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we'll talk about this further when we get to that item on the
Okay.
agenda, but thank you for the information.
And
I
I'll
appreciate it.
I'll just give you these printouts, and you can
Okay.
read for yourself.
Yep, okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments from anyone in the room? Yes. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is William Anderson, and I'm a member of your Citizens Financial Advisory Committee. This afternoon, I received a phone call from George Pop and asked me, he was unable to attend tonight, and asked me if I would read comments that he had on one of the agenda items. So, concerning resolution number 11, I think that the proposed amendments to the employee handbook is a good first step in addressing the issue of salary changes for managerial and non-union positions. If approved, will a copy of the amendment be provided to every affected employee? Although it is a good first step, the potential financial impact on the approved town budget remains unaddressed. Questions such as, 1, what line items will be needed to be modified, plus and minus, in order to reflect the approved changes in salary and benefits? Number 2, will the town board need to approve each of these line item modifications? And number 3, will a contingency line be included in the budget in order to limit the amounts of any potential increases? I will bring these concerns during the next meeting of the Citizens Advisory Board or Committee, and will follow up with an email to the town supervisor and the Finance Committee members for a response. Thank you, George Pop.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you can give me his comments, that would be great.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else here in the room or online who wants to speak? Seeing none, I move that we return to regular session.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, then we return to regular session and we move on to item number 3.
The town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the 3rd day of December for a public hearing to consider the adoption of a local law establishing regulations for commercial filming. So moved.
Second.
Okay. I want to say a couple of things. So we had a very extensive conversation about filming earlier this year. We had multiple conversations. And so based on that guidance that the town board gave for that filming of the show Best Medicine, we incorporate a lot of that into this proposed filming law and a sample application and so forth. If people would prefer to table this and have more discussion on it at the workshop meeting next Wednesday, because this is a fairly major piece of legislation, that would be fine. But I was, if people were ready based on our prior conversation and based on a look at it to go ahead and, and set the public hearing, and then look at it as we go along, there's a tension here between, we have had several inquiries by filmmakers since the Best Medicine discussion, and so the longer we wait, the longer we don't have an application fee and an application form and a process in place, and I'm sort of weighing moving more expeditiously to get a process in place versus giving the board full time to take a look at it. If people want to table it to the workshop next weekend, that's fine with me. Next Wednesday, not on the weekend. Next Wednesday, that would be fine too. But it's up to board members what you'd like to do. But I want to thank the legal department for working on this, and the town clerk also for input, and the town police for input, Chief Cavalieri, and I think we've got something that reflects the process that evolved during our discussions about best medicine and that I think would work. And it takes a look at what's going on in surrounding municipalities, surrounding counties, to get a sense of what we might do.
I just have a procedural question. So if we decide to discuss further at the workshop next week, can we still set the public hearing, or does that push the public hearing further down the line?
I don't think so, because if we decide to make substantial changes to this, well,
Well,
We
you
could-
could set the hearing, on the
Yep.
19th and probably still have it for the December 3rd.
that's right. But if in that discussion we decided to make any substantive changes, then we would need to restart the process, I think, of setting the public hearing or not.
No, because we
No?
didn't set it.
Well, I mean, I meant if you, tabled it for tonight, you could still set it on the 19th and have it
Or
on,
the 3rd,
have
so
the
you can
hearing
make
on the
changes.
3rd.
I see.
I
It wouldn't
see.
really change the timeline.
So it wouldn't change the timeline, okay.
If we can get it published in time.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
But I mean,
that's the tricky
at the
part.
latest, the second meeting in December is still a good,
Would it be
you know,
better to have
yeah, the
something
journal,
on
I
the
didn't,
books earlier if we could?
they're the problem.
We try to
Because
get
there's
this done
holidays and
earlier,
they have like
so we're
holiday
losing revenue.
schedules.
Right.
I did just want to point out, everyone had this 2 weeks ago, and this version is a little bit different because Lori met with the supervisor and the town clerk and the police chief and made a couple changes, and then with the clerk, added in a bunch of the application forms and checklist and all of that material, which isn't really part of the law, but it's there for your review. So that's why. you
Actually,
got
Lori added that, I didn't do any of that.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't had a chance to really get a good
Kind
look
of
at
a
it.
bigger packet than you had two
Yeah.
weeks ago, but it's really not a lot of difference to the law itself.
So one approach would be to set the public, go ahead and set the public hearing, discuss it next week. If there's some kind of major change that needs to be made, then we could do that and continue to go forward. And maybe we'll get it to the 3rd, or maybe we'll get it at the second December meeting.
I mean, you could also go ahead and set the hearing, and then if board members have changes, you could consider those along with the public's changes, after the hearing.
What are people's thoughts?
So we can set the public hearing and then discuss it at the workshop. There's no-
Okay, then
Okay,
we'll put it on
fine.
the agenda for next week.
Yeah, and then
That's
if we have
great.
no comments, we have no comments.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so then, all those in favor of setting the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 7-0, and this will be on next week's agenda for further discussion. Okay, great. All right, resolution number 4, Manor Hill Mobile Home Park.
Yeah, whereas the town board received an application from Manor Hill Mobile Home Park requesting a change of zoning for tax parcels 6162, 16970397, 246 North Grand, town of Poughkeepsie, consisting of 5.53 acres from residence single family to residence mobile home. This is for 14 lots. We've talked about this plenty over time, the last couple of years. They've done a lot of work up there. I think this was originally a lot bigger. We brought it down to 14 units. And I think they're looking to have a public hearing on December 3rd to see how we're going to proceed and get more input from the public. So that's the idea behind it. But we've talked about this so much, I can't imagine anymore. We've already, there were some changes that were made with road access to North Grand, and that got closed off. So really, this should really just move forward.
Well, I think we have to move it, right?
Yes.
Second? All those, all right, so then it's on so if it's moved and seconded, then it's on the table for further discussion. And what we're doing tonight is just setting the public hearing date for
Correct.
December 3rd, right? Any discussion?
Was it always 14 lots?
No, it was much bigger. We shrunk it down to 14 lots.
Okay.
And we closed off they wanted access to North Grand. We closed that off, so it wasn't from Van Wagner to North Grand and cut through. So,
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 7-0 to set the public hearing. All right, then we are on to setting a public hearing for an amendment to the towing law. Item 5.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the 3rd day of December 2025 at 7 p.m. at Town Hall, 1 Overrock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as for the time, date, and place of a public hearing to consider the adoption by local law of an amendment to the Town Code, Chapter 199, entitled Towing. The proposed local law is attached and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said local law and does direct that it be spread across the record as if it in fact had been read verbatim. Be it further resolved that the local law is a type 2 action pursuant to SECRA, requiring no further environmental review. Said local law, if adopted, shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Yes. I have a question. Why are we taking out so much of the current law that was put in as a safeguard to the public? Because we're removing, having to have the drivers, have valid licenses that be, anybody that's working for a tow company has to now give us a driver's license and let us know if they've had any issues with their driver's license in the past. We're taking that out here. We're reducing a business for being on the list. It was 5 years, so we have a set record of a proven track record. Now we're saying that's gone, you can just have to be in business for 1 year. I mean, when we put that together, we really wanted to protect the public. So if anybody just coming in, buying a tow truck, say, hey, I'm in business now, and then, no, I'm just gonna go ahead, but there's no track record for safety. So why are we taking all that out?
So these requests came from the police department based on their use of the process and requesting to streamline some things. The chief is here, so I don't know if you want to speak to it, or I can go through why some of these things are, he knows it better than I do.
So can I just ask a quick procedural question, since we're setting a public hearing?
Yeah.
How, we can discuss the law itself
Oh,
while
for
we're
sure.
in the middle of, in the middle of this, but
Yeah.
ultimately what we're trying to do is just set
Yeah,
this
this
up
is
public
new
hearing.
tonight,
Yep,
so it's,
yep.
yeah.
Great, thank you. Good evening, welcome.
Hello, good evening, everybody. That we found the law was too redundant. It's the same with inspection in the trucks, the license of the truck, they all have to do that anyway. We were finding that the tow companies still were showing us licensed drivers and then switching drivers later, and we're only finding violations later with the officers dealing with the tow trucks on the street, which we're still gonna have to do. This law, while it was good intention, a lot of work went into it, became an animal and unable to manage by the police department. It's too restrictive. We don't have the staff to properly inspect, to keep up on the paperwork and to do it. So all the tow trucks, they already have to be licensed with the state. They already have to be inspected by the state. They already have to meet license. So if we catch them on the street, we can issue them at an accident scene and anyway, we find out. So the law, while it was intended to do that, it was really just creating a bunch of red tape and bureaucracy that was wasting time for my traffic division trying to keep up with.
So it's not as if the tow trucks are not gonna be inspected. They're gonna be inspected
They're
by the
inspected
state.
already. They have to do yearly inspections and
And-
they're doing it. But so why are
every
we
time
doing
it-
it twice?
Right, and every time a tow truck shows up, you can just check their inspection and their
Correct.
data and their credentials at the scene.
Correct.
What about the drivers, Joe? Any new driver, they still have to supply you with that, or they could just pick somebody up and not tell you who's driving the truck? Do you understand? Like, they have
Yes.
say they got 5 guys working for them, all of a sudden, those 5 guys don't work for them anymore. Now they just pick somebody up.
They were
who's
doing
not
that
qualified.
already, even,
Okay.
the compliance and trying to keep up with the law of the drivers, and they changed frequency like that. It's still, they're responsible to be properly licensed and insured to be driving the truck. So it's still a matter of us, verifying it on the scene and dealing, because that's really when we were catching the violations, is when the officers were dealing with them on the street, not during the filing process, because, and really, the law really had no teeth, and it was confusing on what the penalty were, when you could kick them off. It was too ambiguous, left too much out to do. It created a lot of bureaucracy for both us and the tow truck drivers.
So you're saying that in terms of the licensing, rather than asking a tow truck company to give you a name of their licensed drivers and keep that list updated and things like that, it's easier, they have to have a license, it's easier at the scene when they show up to tow a car, the drivers either are licensed or they're not licensed. If they're not licensed, right there on the street while you're working, that's the time to identify it.
Correct, most of the
Because
fine,
their employees are gonna change all the time.
right, most of the violations we were filing under the tow laws when we dealt with them on the scene. To say, wait, you weren't listed on, as a driver, you're not properly licensed, or your license is suspended, or the truck doesn't meet code, or the truck's inspection was out. And then we do also, they do spot inspections on the street also.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, if we had a larger staff, which I don't think you want to add, you maybe could, but then it also, collecting the fees between the comptroller's office and the police department was not working, and like I said, it was good intention, but it just became unmanageable.
The toll list has always been a problem.
Excuse me?
It's always been a problem, the toll list, so.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, but
We're getting there.
I agree, this has been overly complicated when we issued it. And
Wait,
also,
wait. We might wanna think a little bit about the fees. We are not gonna be getting fees here, and so how do we think about that piece? I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to waiving the fees. I just wanna think about that as a financial issue and where and how are we making that up, and when we think about working with them.
I think the reason for, I'm sorry to interrupt, I think the reason for the fees was for the time to go do the inspections,
Correct.
which we're not
Correct, the
doing
original
now,
purpose of the
so-
fees was
Yeah.
to cover our costs
Yep.
for doing all these yard inspections, truck inspections, and doing all the paperwork. And, it was the future, the plan going forward was to try and raise enough fees to then get us more administrative staff, but it's not gonna happen.
Okay,
And-
thank you.
how many tow trucks do we currently have on the tow list?
15.
15? Okay. Do we have a cap there at 15, or?
That's what we currently have it set. I believe it's still vacant. You guys can
You can
determine.
change that cap
Change it.
by resolution at
But
any
it-
time.
But just be aware, there's two sides of it.
Yeah, no.
The people that are on it, they want less so they can get more.
Right.
More people want to get on it because it's very lucrative to be on the town list.
Yeah,
Are they all in the town?
no.
No, that's something that came out, you can't restrict them.
You can't
That was
restrict it to
litigated.
interstate
Yeah.
transportation.
Right.
It's commerce law.
And Chief, just one quick question. How many, broad stroke estimate of how many hours do you think this would save your personnel?
I
Like-
can't put a number on. I mean, 15, just it's at least 15 hours, each yard inspection is probably an hour's work. The truck inspections, depends on how many trucks they have, is at least an hour for each truck inspection.
Yeah.
And then I can't even going through the applications.
So that's several days of manpower,
Oh,
womanpower.
yeah,
and
this
then-
time of year, and it was, very cumbersome this time of year, and then they had to do it every year, to reapply every year, and basically we have to go through all the paperwork again, every year was probably, even legal gets involved, because then we have to let it up here for legal to review everything.
So that'll save some time, and if it saves time, it saves money, and
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that we were looking for is with the problem we were having, as the police department was concerned, was them chasing the accidents and clogging up the road. So the problem was whenever they listened to our radios, they hear an accident, they were all showing up. We were just looking for a law to stop that we could easily ticket them for if they show up and they don't call. And then it morphed into this law.
all right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions? Okay, so then we'd be voting to set, hearing, for the third day of December for this, okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 7-0.
Okay, whereas the town of Poughkeepsie adopted a public nuisance law, chapter 144, article 3, to control use of buildings in the town where repeated criminal activities occur, and whereas the building inspector reports there have been arrests relating to prostitution activity on May 15th and October 16th, 2025 at Lucky Spa, 10 IBM Road, making the property a public nuisance. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board determines that it is appropriate to pursue closure of the facility pursuant to Town Code Section 144-19B, and be further resolved, the town board does hereby set a public hearing to be held on December 3rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. for the purpose to determine whether to declare the use of 10 IBM Road constitutes an immediate and substantial threat to the safety and well-being of the inhabitants of the building or structure in question, or of the residents of other occupants of surrounding vicinity, and to direct that such building or structure be physically boarded up and secured until further occupancy for a period of up to 1 year from the date of such declaration. And be further resolved that the building inspector is directed to provide notice of this hearing to those in control of the building pursuant to section 144-19C. So moved.
Second.
Okay, so this goes to some questions that were raised by our member of the public who came and spoke, that a law that allows you to arrest a worker at such a place is just not going to get you very far, because then that person's going to be replaced by another worker. And so we've been working for a year to try to put the process in place to address this with the landlord. I'm not sure whether we can move faster on adoption of the law, but I do notice that we have the law, I mean, with the adoption of the action itself, but the building inspector is directed to provide notice to those in control of the building. So what we could do immediately is have the building inspector inform the landlord that this is what's getting ready to happen. And I don't believe that precludes other people, such as the town board member for that ward, the town supervisor, or others, to also reach out to the building owners to say, this is coming down the pike, and we have put the law in place, and, you know, we are at this point ready to board up the building, and the hearing's set for December 3rd, and hopefully persuade the landlord that action should be taken.
Otherwise, the whole building gets shut down.
Otherwise, the building is boarded up for a year.
The whole building, or just the one section that has?
The
that?
section that's being used for this portion, the portion of the building that has been cited for the business there that's been cited for the crime.
But certainly the owner should find this concerning that, you know, there'll be a door boarded up on his building where he has other businesses. that
We've
he
had
would wanna move
conversations,
ahead.
we've had conversations with the building owner who expressed, that they were seeking to end the lease and were very concerned about the situation. So given that verbal commitment, it seems like now is a very good time to go back to them and say, this is coming down the pike in less than a month. And so action needs to be taken, and one would hope that the landlord,
Right.
perhaps this would give them some leverage also in breaking a lease or whatever.
I think that's a great idea, and hopefully it would happen. But what would stop that company from leaving that facility and finding a new space in the town?
That's a hard thing. I mean, we have said that, you know, if that's the case, then after 2 arrests for this criminal activity, then we'll shut it down again. So,
It's just a question, are there any other, in this strip mall, are there any other open spaces?
not that
Is
I
it
know
fully
of right now.
occupied? Is the business, is that strip mall fully occupied and there's no other?
I think it is fully occupied.
I'm thinking,
Yeah, I think it is.
So I mean, we're gonna tell them, okay, we're gonna board up the door, and then what happens?
Well-
If you wanna rent it to somebody else, you can't do it?
not for a year.
Okay.
Which, the goal there is to be a deterrent, so that if that same business goes and looks for rental space at another place in the town, other landlords are on notice that if you rent to this business for this activity, that, you are at risk of having that piece of property unusable for a year and boarded up. Which is not great for the town and not great for anybody. Nobody wants our properties boarded up, but
Right.
it's certainly not good for the landlord. And that's the action that the town can take. I mean, we can also pursue legal action in court, but it's faster and quicker and perhaps more directly to someone's pocket to board up their building rather than to get involved in a long court procedure. So the board has the capacity to do that, and if we do it this once, I hope that that helps put everyone on notice that we will do this, we can do this, and so it's unwise for anyone to rent space to this company. Is that a guarantee? Nope, but it hopefully sets a precedent that the town will act. So I think that's probably about the fastest thing we can do. I think we have to set a public hearing in order to give the legally required month. But it seems like in the meantime, we can certainly
And we can-
do a full court press on that landlord to let them know what's anticipated to happen.
I see. And then we keep up the law enforcement, activities as well?
Yeah.
Monitoring?
This
and
is
then-
in
Because this is, I mean, if true, this is kind of
It's in five.
scary.
Yep,
I mean,
Yep.
it's happening.
for sure.
Okay,
So,
all right.
and I want to thank the town police and Chief Cavalieri and his team for working on this and as expeditiously as we can.
Good.
All right, any further, comment? Okay, we're setting the public hearing for December 3rd then. A lot of things happening on December 3rd. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries 7-0. Yes, let's hope there's not a snowstorm on December 3rd. That's true. Okay, all right. Number 7, be it resolved that the town board hereby accepts with regret the resignation of Jennifer Munn from her position as town assessor for the town of Poughkeepsie effective November 11th, 2025. So moved.
Second.
I have a question.
Je-
Do
Je-
we have a resignation letter for 7 and 8? Because nothing's in the packet.
I do believe we did have a letter of resignation for 7. I want to address 8 differently, but we can get it, we can provide it. Is it here?
I have one.
Oh, okay.
Read it.
Do we usually put it into the packet, or?
We usually do, but then there wasn't one on for 8, so I was just like, I don't know what to do,
Well, we,
so.
Okay.
you can just post it publicly, both 7 and 8, I guess, if
We
you don't have it.
clarified that we are not required to have a resignation letter. I think it's custom to put it into the, to attach it, particularly when someone's retiring and they're expressing their, appreciation for their work for the town or whatever, or if there's relevant information in there. But we are not required to have such a letter. If you have it and board members want to see it, that could be helpful.
Yeah, I
But-
think the function is to document the resignation and the date, so that we
Yes.
have that in the town's
Yes.
records.
Yeah, because I don't have a date for number 8.
It says October 15th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in the resolution.
Okay.
So, Jennifer's, Mund has been a terrific assessor. I had the opportunity to talk with Steve Hartnett, from the State Office of Real Property Tax Services, who advised us on the fact that, as you know, we've lost our deputy assessor a few weeks back and our assessor. There are not enough assessors out there. We need to create a pipeline for young folks coming out of finance programs to get into this line of work. And so both of our deputy and our assessor have been hired by other towns. I wish Jennifer the best. This is a great opportunity for her family. There's a lot of different things going on here in terms of her need to move. But we wish her the best, but it's tough for us. Did I move in second? Did we move in second this? I think we did.
Yep.
So moved? Seconded? Okay. The other thing I wanted to just say is that, in light of that, one of the reasons we talked with, the ORPS and the Real Property Tax Services is to sort of determine, how to move forward with our, revow or reassessment for next year. And I was actually comforted by that discussion because I've been sort of feeling that you should be reassessing every year. The state actually suggests that a cycle of reevaluating every 3rd or 4th year is appropriate. You can get state aid to do that, and that when you do it very thoroughly, do reval and reassessment, do it very thoroughly, but do it every 3rd or 4th year is the current recommendation. And so I expressed some panic about not having an assessor or a deputy assessor, and they said it's okay to wait till 2027, right? To get a new assessor in the door, get them up to speed. This issue of whether or not we would contract out commercial assessment could be deferred for a year while a new assessor gets their feet under them, and we can go from there. So that was somewhat comforting. We have posted for the position. We have received resumes, so I would like to hear from those board members who might like to serve on a interview committee, whether it's personnel or whoever it might be. I think as a department head position, all board members would be offered an opportunity to interview with this person, with any candidates before before we would hire anyone, but an initial committee would be helpful. So if board members who would like to do that, whether it's the personnel committee or whoever would like to, just let me know.
I'm fine with helping with that.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And if anyone else is ready or willing to help, just let me know. All right, again, as Emily says, we don't really have a whole lot of choice. We could vote no, but she's still, it says this is about marking the date of her departure. So, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution carries 7-0.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie hereby accept with regret the resignation of Fallon Gumeyer from her position as the Town of Poughkeepsie Justice Court, effective October 15th, 2025. So moved.
Second.
Okay, I would like to move that the board go into executive session. A board member has raised a question about this resignation, and I would like the board to discuss it briefly in executive session.
Right now?
Sure.
Second?
Oh, second.
Sure.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so I hope this will be fairly brief, but we will go into executive session for a few minutes and come back. There we go. Okay. All right, I think that the resolution was on the
It had been
table
moved.
and had been moved and seconded?
Yes, it did.
Okay. All right, and just clarifying that we may sometimes have a letter of resignation, but we don't always. Sometimes an employee leaves without such a letter, or it's not legally essential. The goal is to simply establish the date of departure, so, in the public record. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries 7-0.
Number 9, be it resolved, the town board does hereby authorize out-of-title pay to Heather Duddy for deputy assessor services rendered due to vacancies in the office of the assessor effective October 25th, 2025. So moved.
Second.
Okay, then she is a clerk in that office, but is working with Jennifer to do beyond her usual title and fill in a number of the deputy assessor roles.
Do we have to list how much, or what?
Yeah, what's the amount roughly, or?
I believe that refers to, that essentially she is working in that job full-time, that she is receiving deputy assessor pay. Not for specific hours when she's doing that job, but essentially we're not appointing her into that job as of right now, but for the moment, she is doing the job of a deputy assessor.
She's temporarily there.
She's temporarily
In the title of that pay grade.
Yes,
Okay, gotcha.
so, effective that pay period. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries 7-0.
Number 10, in June 2025, the town of Poughkeepsie received notification from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation in the matter of the Tri-Municipal Sewer Commission regarding violations such as location, along with the proposed order of consent requiring remediation of such violations. The town of Poughkeepsie is a party to the Tri-Muni Sewer Commission, along with the town of Wappingers and Village of Wappingers. And whereas in said consent order, there's a schedule of compliance which outlines respondents' responsibilities and the responsibilities of each respondent's individual municipal parties. And whereas among those responsibilities are the development and implementation of work plans entitled Sanitary Systems Evaluations and Capacity Management Maintenance Study. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the development, implementation, and funding for those two related studies, upon the respondents reaching agreement with DEC to enter the consent order requiring such studies. So moved.
Second.
Okay, just to clarify that, what the town is doing here is it's expressing its willingness to go forward with those studies, but we are not putting those out to bid or doing them right now. All of the customers of Tri-Muni and Tri-Muni, the commission itself, all need to agree to do such studies. And there's a conversation going on about how much, whether everyone's willing to do it. So we are putting ourselves on record as willing to undertake those studies in order to be in compliance with the consent order from the DEC, and then waiting to see what else happens. Okay? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution carries 7-0. I just want to thank Andy Learn, also Bill Reuter, our and Jay Baisley, who are representing us on the Tri-Muni, but also Andy Learn, who's been working really hard on this, and Dave Gordon, to make sure the town's interests are represented. Okay, I think we are at resolution 11.
Be resolved, the town board, town of Poughkeepsie is hereby amend the town of Poughkeepsie employee handbook, section 701, relating to wage and salary, and said revisions are attached here too at Exhibit A. And be it further resolved, the full version of the employee handbook can be found in the clerk's office. So moved.
Second.
Okay, the goal here is to give a set of criteria for the board to use if someone, if we're making evaluations about salary changes or promotions or anything of that sort in the mid-year. They're certainly not exhaustive, but covering most of the major angles of things we might want to consider. And we did work with Brooke Youngworth and the town labor employee on these. In response to some questions that were asked earlier, I think that if any kind of merit increase was offered, then, or any kind of salary increase was offered, then we would need to specify where the funds were coming from mid-year. That would be important for anything that's not in the budget. Okay?
So, yeah, my discuss, as you know, that I've been pretty clear on the fact that, I don't believe mid-year increases out of budget cycle are appropriate. That's what it refers to on the bottom. And I think that that can be accomplished through cross-training. In the case where we had with the assessor, we had assessor, associate assessor, I'm not really sure of the title.
Deputy, yes,
Deputy,
exactly.
okay, and then, so the reason if one was to leave, we say the person below wasn't ready, and then the other person left, and it's all about, so then we ended up with nobody, all right? So, it's all about, giving an increase because someone's threatening or has another interest in leaving to get a higher pay. Once you start to do that and record that you can do that, that's gonna continue the process, that's gonna keep it going. And, the other thing I would say, and that can be accomplished or resolved by cross-training. So, if you have a cross-training program, to say where the deputy assessor would be able to jump in the role of the assessor, and I'm using that just as an example, okay, so, that maybe we can get to that at some point, but that ought to be the policy. Regarding merit pay, we're referencing here that the town board will grant the discretion of a merit increase. I mean, merit pay to me is a strategy to reward good behavior and compensation. It ought to be equal across the board. I think we're getting into a even though we separate unions, that may not be the best approach. And if we're gonna be doing merit pay, then really within that, we need to have an appraisal system, some sort of job descriptions and how employees work towards achieving the job descriptions. I don't know how the town board can make that decision without working in the individual departments. So, yeah, I wouldn't think that this was something that, I think something we could work on a little bit more, maybe in a work session together. I wouldn't sign up for this.
Anyone else?
I know in the past, we've done this, it was rare, until this year. We did have some employees that, one was promised a raise, and I agree that we did do the right thing in giving them the raise we were supposed to give them. They were here a year, they finished out. I'm not necessarily in favor of this the way it's written. I do think Bill pointed out some very sound points that we should really look into. I don't think we should rush into this right now. I'd like to speak on this at maybe a workshop or even, I just think we're opening Pandora's box by doing this, and I don't necessarily want every employee that's a department head seeking another salary. If they know that's their salary, this is for the year, and I do believe cross-training could prevent a lot of people from jumping ship. I just think, if somebody really wants to leave and there's a better job out there for them, then I wish them well. But I think we should be doing a better job of having our department heads cross-train people, and maybe we should bite the bullet a little bit and seek hiring other people if somebody does say they want to go, because this is really going to affect our budget moving forward if we keep making changes midstream. So I would say we could do a better job together moving forward if we hold the line. Everybody can be changed out. Everybody is important, but everybody can be replaced.
Well, I don't wanna overtalk, but if I was looking at an employee and I was in one of these other categories, I wouldn't know how to read this, because some categories get it, some categories don't. And a merit increase program should be for everyone. We all work for the town, or all the employees work for the town here that we're referencing. So I don't think this is a morale booster here, as far as like making it fair. I mean, that's what I would read that as in this. So I would think that we can put some more work into this, and, because I haven't seen this before, so.
Just as clarification, I think I emailed it a while back, and gave everybody a sort of, heads up after talking about it with Brooke. I believe that those first three parts that are not in italics were already there. I think what we're proposing to do is add the language that's in italics, starting with when considering salary changes, going to the bottom of the page. I agree with the recommendation for cross-training. I think we could do more of it, and it would be good to continue doing that. I'm not sure I mean, I realize that we have a difference of opinion. Some board members feel that we should, you know, once your salary is set for the year, it should be set, and there shouldn't be any change, and whatever circumstances come up, you know, you know, there's no change except in the budget process. Some of us favor a little bit more of a flexible system, because circumstances vary, and having worked at town hall, I would say, yes, it's true that you can probably survive without, a lot of, you know, there are different employees you may be able to survive without, but sometimes someone is valued and important, and you want to try to retain them, and,
And then they leave anyway.
so,
that's
they
a
can, they may at some point leave, they may stay, but those might not be the only circumstances in which one would consider, a mid-year raise. And, and when we have wrestled with those questions, I have felt that we could use a broader vocabulary in which to assess someone's value. Sometimes it comes down to things like revenue. If someone brings in a lot of revenue, well, that's okay to give them a raise. And I don't think that makes sense, because some employees, their jobs involve bringing in revenue. And if they do, then that's a measure, that is one of the measures of their job performance, is how are they doing in bringing in revenue. But there are many, many other incredibly valuable employees whose job, who do not have revenue generation as part of their job. And so, they cannot say, you should give me a raise because I'm raising revenue, because, you know, that's not their job. Their job is to snowplow, and snowplowing is not gonna bring in revenue, it is not. So I would like us to have a broader array of criteria, and that's what the goal is here, is to have a list of criteria, so that if such an issue comes up, we have a number of different issues that we may wish to consider, and that list is broad.
Yeah, I appreciate, I'm not really clear on what you had said, but all I'm saying is that simply, when we have a merit increase, that should be, whatever the job is, fair and equitable across all employees, to have an opportunity to have a merit pay increase. And so that to me, you know, I mean, you can call it a strategy as it's defined in the dictionary, but employees should have job description, they should understand what their job is, and they should have regular evaluations. And then, if you're gonna do merit increases, and then your performance is based upon those evaluations as pertaining to your job description.
So
And that should be equally across, everyone should, as an employee, should have an opportunity for that merit increase program. You
So
can't
basically-
target one group or the other.
Well, I agree about the merit bill, but, if that's a union position, then that's all dictated by
Well,
the
the
contract.
unions could add that in their contract then.
Well, that doesn't really
If that's
apply
what they-
though
if
for
that's what you want,
merit-based.
but that's what
They-
you're saying.
They get step increases where, the non-union would not get that. So
So,
what you're saying, Bill, is if somebody is evaluated properly, they might be able to get some type of, bump up, maybe in 6 months, or every 24, or, 6 months for an evaluation, or a yearly evaluation. Is that what you're saying, or?
Yeah, there has to be some metrics. There has to be something concrete, so they know
'Cause I'm sure we're not
the
doing
time frame,
evaluations
like
at
what
this
sort of
point
time frame
for
would.
department heads.
I mean, how would employees know if they're doing a good job or not?
Well, evaluations are the next thing to come down the pike, at a meeting sometime soon. But what I just wanted to say is, I don't believe that this proposed language comes under the heading merit increases. I think merit
that's
increases,
confusing.
merit
Yeah.
increases is already in the handbook. And the merit increases will be granted at the discretion of the town board, period. That was already there in the handbook. And I think what we're proposing, but maybe the fonts could be clearer and the structure could be clearer, is a whole new section
Oh,
that
so it has a
says,
different type
when
of-
considering salary changes for managerial and non-union positions, it's not underneath the merit increase section. It's a whole separate section. We
So it's an
probably should
addition,
clarify.
not an amendment.
It's an addition, right, and it's not, it doesn't go under the heading merit increases, it's a whole separate provision that should have a title like something like, criteria for managerial and non-union, salary changes or something.
Can I ask two questions? You sure? One of them is, so if, an employee gets a raise in the middle of the year, a lot of times the non-unions at budget time will then, across the board, get a 3%. So will they be getting a 3% on top of, say, the 10,000 they just got? That's one question. And then the other question is, so if somebody, comes in and they say, I was getting 4 weeks' pay when I was working in East Fishkill, and now I'd like 4, and you negotiate something like that. So it takes a regular employee's, I'll use 3 weeks, because I know that one better. So my girls are about to hit their 3 weeks, because they've been here 5 years. So I would recommend that if you give somebody 5 weeks or 4 weeks, that they have to, before they get another increase, they should be here that 5 years. You know what I mean?
So,
It keeps it fair.
It makes it fair
Right.
because you get excited, you're getting into your 5th year, and then people come in and they get 3 weeks, and the morale, it really
Right.
beats people, and I think, or maybe we're not giving enough vacation for our people, these are some of the things I hear, that's all.
so the same underlying principle is how much discretion does the board want to give itself or want to
Yeah, those are
exercise
just two
in
questions.
individual cases as opposed to uniformity? And those are tough questions, right?
They are. I get it.
So the question on the table before us is, do we want to add this language to the handbook?
You're asking me a question? I say
Well,
not-
a
I say
couple of
not at
people,
this time.
a couple of people have spoken, and I'm leaving
Okay.
a room for, if there's any
Sure.
other board members who wanted to speak.
I wouldn't mind, just kind of, I don't know how we do this in open meetings law, where we can take a second look at it and avoid future, I don't think we can completely avoid future problems, because it's human nature, but maybe we could just.
We could
look
table
at
it. If people
Table
wish
it.
to table it and take more time to consider it, or, it would, that, we can do that.
And I just have a,
Or forward it to
Procedural
table
Yeah.
it to a certain, to,
I would like to table
future
it and,
meeting.
and look at this, maybe make some changes, like with the title, like making that heading better and, kind of, I think we're trying to create clarity, so if we are not clear and this doesn't look great, then it's not gonna solve the problem in the future. But my question is, how do we get to workshop that when you can't all meet together at the same time?
I
This
would
is what
say-
happens when we wanna,
At a workshop meeting.
at a workshop meeting, okay.
Well, I would recommend you send it to the Personnel Committee to review the employee handbook and make the changes, and then bring it back to the town board
Okay.
for input, additional input and approval. And it's not gonna happen this year. I would say, your new board coming in would be appropriate to do that.
that makes sense to me. The other thing is that, Emma is proposing some rules around, merit, around, evaluation processes. So maybe we could wrap the two together for
Yep.
the personnel committee to take a look at. That would be just fine.
And I do think being standardized and not allowing some people to come in and get 5 weeks vacation when people have been here 4 or 5, years and not getting the same. It should be standard starting. This is what we offer. I'm sorry, we can't offer anymore, because we have done that. And I think we made a mistake in that, but I understand why we did it at the time we did it.
Okay, then if someone wants to make a motion to table depending on how far how far out you want to table it to, that's fine.
I would make a recommendation, you table this to the new board coming in 2026 Personnel Committee, and let them review the handbook, make recommendations with HR assistance, and then let the board take it out of committee.
Okay, so moved?
Second.
Oh, you're moving that
Second.
amendment. You're
Second.
moving
No,
that
you have to say
action,
so
right?
Yes.
And so seconded, so the motion on the table is to refer this to the incoming personnel committee at the beginning of the 2026 year, to review and bring recommendations back to the board.
Yes, did I say 27? I'm sorry.
26, no, you said, I think you said 26, no. I'm just trying to remember what year it is. I still think it's 2022, so I'm upset. Okay, then that's the motion on the table. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, resolution 7-0, and we'll wrap this with any other additional processes around evaluation and things like that, that Emma and the, personnel department might be working on or recommending. Okay, good. All right, resolution number 12.
Whereas due to unforeseen billing program errors, some town of Poughkeepsie water billing customers are unable to make payments online for their quarterly bill for the months of July, August, and September. The town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby waive the late penalty fee for those who are unable to make those payments online. So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, the reason for this was because we are upgrading the Munis system. We're upgrading the Munis system so that we can implement the new, better billing practices. But getting there is another cycle of problems with people making payments online. There were people who could have actually, when they made their payments online, they could have dropped it in the mail the same day and postmarked it that day, and it would have been okay. But we had a number of issues with people paying online. Hopefully, we will be able to implement the new system very early in 2026, and people can auto pay or other things. But we did have some issues again this round.
Do we have a set number of people that we could prove tried to access the system?
It's very hard to do that. So
So how many people are we talking about? 50, under 50, 100?
I don't know how many people will have a late payment, have a late fee on their bill.
It's only the late fee we're waiving for those months.
It's only the late penalty fee for those who came and said they tried to pay online.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries 7-0.
Whereas the town board has been alerted to a sewer bill issue at 17 Fairmont Avenue since November 11th, 2021, billing period to September 26th, 2025. And whereas the owner, Christian X, should receive a refund for sewer charges accrued during that time frame. Now therefore be resolved, the town board issue a refund for sewer charges in the amount of $1,713.50 to Christian X. So moved.
Second.
Okay.
What's the circumstances surrounding this? Like, it was our fault?
I think we can say.
So this person wasn't receiving sewer services.
I'm sorry?
This person was not receiving sewer services.
And they were
Charging.
being billed for sewer
Well, we're
service.
being
For
billed for
water and sewer, but
What
they
we
only had
ordinarily
water.
do is we take the water bill and just double it for those who are also receiving sewer services. So this was a mistake made in 2021 and ongoing and was discovered in 25. So we need to issue a refund since they weren't using those services. So,
That's easy
okay?
one.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
So,
All right.
so just a point on that, because I kind of looked into this one, and I know this has been an account that's been open since 2009. So when we had the new owner come in 2021, their septic failed. So that's kind of how we found out about that. So,
Yes.
so things happen, we understand, but the only thing I would recommend is that to enhance a business control mechanism to kind of figure out, if we're not creating accounts to bill somebody for services that they're not getting. So we should know, if we're really billing for sewer, who has sewer and who has septic. So,
I hope the new
there's
system-
an analysis that we can do on that, and maybe we can do something a little
And
better
does he
on
not
that,
read
but
his bill? He just
probably
pays the
pretty
amount
rare
that
that
it
this would
says.
I
happen.
think accidents happen.
Yeah, and that's,
Yep.
that's the case, so.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries 7-0. Okay. Where are we? 14, which is this back to me? Yep. Okay. Whereas the town clerk has received a request from Germania of Poughkeepsie to hold its Chris Kendall Mark on November 21st and 22nd, and have requested to have all fees waived for this event. And the town clerk may only waive fees for certain organization as it pertains to the fee for actual event application. The town board has been asked to waive fees in regard to the building department fees. So therefore be it resolved, the town board does hereby waive all permit fees relating to Germania of Poughkeepsie's Chris Kendall Market on November 21st and 2nd. And be it further resolved that the town board does hereby approve the application and request as submitted. So moved.
Second.
Okay, we've agreed at the beginning of next year that we are not gonna do nonprofit, waivings of fees, so that we're consistent across the board, and when the building department does work, we're getting the fees for it, but we're gonna finish out 2025 by being consistent through the year, and then start when we adopt our new user fees, so, right?
Supervisor, I'm going to abstain from this vote.
Okay? All right,
Are you abstaining?
I'm staying.
okay, so we have 2 abstentions. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Noes, and then 2 abstentions, right? So I think it's a vote of 5, 0, and 2 abstentions. Okay,
I do not have any events. I did get one from Tanya Speed about the holiday thing, but that came yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to read it, so that'll be on the next.
Yeah, that's the first Saturday in December, so,
I didn't even, to be honest, I didn't get a chance to look at it. There was like, she attached a bunch of things, and
yeah, we've got time.
it came yesterday, and I didn't get to my yesterday's mail until later today, because it's not really at my desk much.
hopefully some holiday events will be coming along soon. We need to do a couple of quick issues in executive session on employee matters. But before that, I think that we should move to suspend the rules for anyone who may wish to address the board on any item or any issue at all. So moved? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so the floor is open for anyone who is in the room or anyone who's on Zoom who might like to address the board on any issue. Doreen, welcome.
Thank you. I heard Councilwoman Laird several times now talk about how can you discuss things due to the open meetings law. The open meetings law doesn't stop you from discussing things. I'm sure you can, discuss this with the attorney, but, you could call a special meeting. You could do it at a workshop, if appropriate. You can do it during a town board meeting. So the open meetings law doesn't stop you from talking about things. The other question I had is for the supervisor. Has there been any progress in the comptroller as far as letting people have an idea of how much the tax bill may go up from last year to this year using the comparison that I had passed on to you from the previous comptroller years ago?
Yep, we are having the budget hearing. I think that we adjourned that budget hearing to continue at the next meeting on November 19th and are discussing and amending and adopting the budget that night. So in the preparation for that, there's a number of questions that have come up, and the budget committee, I think, is working on some proposed amendments. So in the part of that, I hope that we'll be able to get some things out in all the paperwork for that meeting.
So that won't be until the night of the budget vote?
No, I think for the meeting, we'll have that in the packet beforehand.
Okay, but that's for the 19th?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I move that we return to regular session.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes 7-0. All right, and then, I move that we go into executive session. I can't find my nice little executive session piece of paper that Emily kindly put together for me, but I have too many pieces of paper. But we are going into executive session to discuss matters related to, discipline, promotion, hiring, and, of an employee. And we move that no actions that would expend funds of the town will be taken during executive session. So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The resolution carries, and we'll go into exec session for a little bit.
I agree. Hopefully this is quick.